Okay, we want to show you the correct method, or a correct method, and I guess we could say the correct method because it really is, for setting up double bend shafts into putters that take double bend shafts. And the first thing we're going to do is we use our putter head loft gauge. Now, this gauge won't tell us the loft of an assembled putter, it will only tell us the loft of the putter head. And that's important when we're doing double bends, or really any putter, because even if you have a putter with a normal type hosel post configuration and that post somehow got bent, the loft of the head may not match up with the loft of the putter when it's set into a golf club gauge. So the first thing we do is we take our putter head and we take our loft gauge and we find out what the loft is. We get a reading. And the reading in this case, the 3 degrees, which is right underneath the head here, that is the loft reading, correct loft reading I'm getting for this putter. So I'd make a note that my putter head is 3 degrees. At that point, I'm going to take my double bend shaft and just simply insert it into the club head, and I'm going to clamp it into this fixture that we've created for doing this. And at that point, I also want it setting for a proper lie angle, heel to toe wise, and I can just get down here and do a visual inspection. I could slide 2 cards in from either side to make sure that it's sitting properly. I also turn it this way and do a visual inspection of the sole from front to back. Now there will be a raised edge in the back on this particular putter, but that looks to be setting quite well right there. I square the face to the lines on the table, and then we take our protractor, and we're going to now check the loft of this putter in the gauge with the protractor, putting this against the face. And at that point I have 2.5 degrees of loft. Well, my gauge said I should have 3, so at this point I'm going to rotate this shaft. I turned it slightly clockwise in the gauge, and then I will square it again, check my loft again. And now I've got 3 degrees on my gauge. So now my loft on my gauge matches my loft that I had on my putter head gauge. At that point in time, I've got the putter set up correctly. The shaft, in this case being clamped in the gauge, is going to be vertical in that it's not leaning to the left, not leaning to the right. Everything's lined up. I can actually glue the putter, set it in the gauge like this. If I'm just doing one of them, just simply leave it in the gauge to dry. If not, it's a good idea to use some quick center or shafting beads, or slightly oblong the tip of the shaft just by taking it on the anvil of a vise, tap it with a hammer very carefully, and just so it'll fit in there securely, so that when you get it set up and have to take it out and move it, it will stay in position.